Hi everyone. In this video, I'll be showing you how you can insert pivot tables into your Excel files. As you can see, I have a data file all set up already. I have a sample of homes for which we can find the price, as well as other characteristics of each of the homes that the data set contains. The pivot table option is in the Insert menu, so I've already place myself into the Insert menu, and pivot table appears right underneath. A pivot table is extremely useful if you want to construct a frequency table or even a cumulative frequency table. You may also use it if you want to create a contingency table. So whenever you want to build a table that keeps track of the repeated values for two variables, then this is the best option for you. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Pivot Table. And the first thing you'll be asked to identify is the range. So essentially, where is the data? I kind of like to select the entire data set because you never know what you'll be using along the way, or if you change your mind about the variable that you want to investigate. So I'm just going to select the entire data set, and you'll notice that I also included the titles when I did my selection. Next option is where you want the table to appear. It can be in the existing worksheets, in other words, in this current sheet where the data is located. You may want to put it in a new worksheet. That's not really, either way is fine, neither is a big deal. Having it in a new worksheet probably just will be a little bit more airy, more spaced out, easier to organize. So I'm just going to go and select new worksheet and say OK. Now what's interesting about the pivot table option is how easy it is to use. It's essentially click and drag. For instance, if you would like to investigate the number of rooms in the houses from the data set, then you can actually, from the option that you're given, pick the variable rooms, and I'm just going to click and drag it down to the rows. So what will appear in the rows, and you see it building up on the left side of your screen, are the number of rooms that have been observed in the different houses the data set contains. So the houses we have anywhere from 3 to 13 rooms. What we don't have at our disposal for the time being is how many houses have 3 rooms or 4 rooms or 5. So second thing that I'll do now is click and drag again the rooms title, but this time I'm going to drop it in the values. Now, here's one thing that I'm not sure why Excel does by default, which is to do the sum. So it's not adding the number of houses, it's adding the number of rooms. In other words, if I look at the table on the left, rooms that have 4 houses, houses that have 4 rooms, there aren't 16 of them. It's actually 16 rooms in total. So we want to change sum of rooms to count of rooms. So what's nice about Excel is whenever you click on something, the options appear, and that's essentially what I'm doing here. I clicked on the little arrow button on the drop menu, and I'm going to modify the field settings. From sum, I'm going to go to count and click OK. And notice on the left-hand side, what used to be the sum of the rooms for each category is now the count of the rooms. So now it makes a bit more sense. The total in the count of rooms column will be 150, which is how many houses I have, or the data set has. If you prefer to put the data in percentage, that's also okay. So you can go back to value field settings, and instead of showing the count as values, you can modify them so that they are presented as percentage of grand total, column total. Either one will do the same in this case because there's just one column. And we click OK, and notice on the left that now percentages or relative frequencies are presented rather than pure numbers. So that's quite useful for that. Especially if you want to build a graphical output for this data, so bar chart, having the distribution or having the frequency table at your disposal will be extremely handy. I was saying earlier that the pivot table option is super easy to use because if you want to change your mind or do something else, then it's easily adapted or adaptable. I'm no longer interested in discussing rooms, so I'll put them back in the little bin at the top. And maybe this time I'd like to see how many houses have certain number or a certain kind of fuel. So 3 different kinds of fuel or energy sources are used to heat the houses: electric, natural gas, and oil. And if I want to see how many houses fit into each category, I'm going to drop fuel. Fuel happens to be a qualitative variable, so by default Excel assumes you don't want to sum the results, but really just count. So this time the numbers that appear are exactly those we want. So 81 houses are heated with electricity. Now there is a second variable in our data set that happens to be qualitative, and that's exterior. Perhaps you would like to see if there's a link between the exterior condition of the house and the type of heating that is being used or the type of energy source that's used. So I'm going to create a contingency table with you. Contingency table crosses 2 variables at the same time. In this case, I have fuel, and I'm going to cross it with exterior. So I'm going to put exterior as columns, and if you keep your eye on the left part of your screen, you're going to see what happens. So now we have all of the different types of fuel. So I haven't changed the row labels, but now I've also incorporated column labels, which are the different conditions the houses are in. So houses can be in excellent condition, in good condition, in poor condition, and we can see how many houses fall into the 2 different characteristics simultaneously. So 29 houses are heated with electricity and happen to be in excellent condition. Perhaps you would like to investigate a little bit further or see the details in a different manner. As we did earlier with the variable which was rooms, we can also convert these numbers into percentages rather than frequencies. Any modification you want to make requires that you go through value field settings, and perhaps you'd like to show the results in a percent of the grand total. Here we go. So 19% of the houses are heated with electricity and are in excellent condition. So as you can tell, the percentages in the table add up to 100%. You also have totals for each row, totals for each column. So 54% of the houses are heated with electricity. Just under 27% of homes have a poor exterior condition, etc. So you can do a lot of analysis there. But I'll keep going and show you an added advantage to the pivot table, which is that you can also show the values in percentages of, let's say, percentage per row. So this time what will happen is the different types of heating have been separated from one another. So we're keeping track of the exterior conditions of the houses, but specifically or respectively for those houses that are heated with electricity, those that are heated with natural gas, those that are heated with oil. So notice that every row adds up to 100%. So this is what we would call a frequency table conditional to fuel type. Okay, so we see the distribution of exterior conditions, conditional to, so subject to or per electric, per natural gas, per oil, so by category of energy source. You may want to switch that around. Go back to value settings. Maybe you want to show the values in percentages of column. So this time we're going to isolate each column from one another. So we have separated all the houses that are in excellent condition from those that are in good condition, from those that are in poor condition, and we see how the different energy sources are distributed among those exterior conditions or exterior quality conditions. So now the column totals are 100%. This would be the distribution of energy sources conditional to exterior condition. And that would allow you to compare the percentages within each group and see if there are big discrepancies. For example, if I look at all houses that have an excellent exterior condition, I'll notice that there's not a big difference between how the energy sources are distributed within that group and within the group that consists of houses with a good exterior condition. Comparing 55 with 56, we see there isn't a huge difference. Houses in a poor exterior condition have slightly less heated with electricity, slightly more with oil. So perhaps we're talking about houses that are older. Who knows? It would take more investigation, but you see how having a conditional distribution table allows us to make certain comparisons that we wouldn't be able to do simply with a contingency table. So here we go. Those were, I think, the main aspects of the pivot table. I hope it was useful. And I'll see you soon.